Yo, let's see if Apex is in there. Well, that's a little high there, sir. A little bit high, buddy, which is what I'm about to do. Get high. Smoke weed and get high. Smoke weed and get high. Smoke weed. Ooh, you're moving, you're dropping around. I see you tracking me now.
The movie that I'm about to show you simultaneously introduces the character and showcases the dog shit quality of this movie. So yeah, there's really no reason for me to like point by point.
Let's go play a duos to get ready before we go to ranked now.
He said that he didn't know that the funds of FTX customers were being misused until just before the collapse. Sam's defense team blamed his ex-girlfriend for the bankruptcy of both companies, emphasizing her ineptitude and failure to hedge Alameda's financial positions. But unfortunately for Sam, his ex-girlfriend, Caroline, would sing like a bird and destroy him. Caroline Ellison, the CEO of Alameda Research, and the girlfriend of Sam, was about to testify. There was no one better positioned and no one closer to Sam. She was the perfect person.
Well, no shit, if she's about to take her down, who do you think's gonna go down?
James, a trading firm where they both worked after college. Caroline
Stream Elements.
She was asked to point
Scrappy
out Sam
DP is now live.
wearing.
Streaming Apex Legends. November 4th, 2023. They can hear you perfectly.
Sam had ditched his trademark black t-shirt and cargo shorts for a grey suit and purple tie in the courtroom.
You think you're tough?
The prosecutor
Try fighting in 6-inch heels.
asked Caroline, quote,
Well, you were a first-class waste of bloody time.
Any crimes? Ellison
I'm the
replied,
jump master.
yes.
I make it look easy, don't I?
Quote, when you say we, who do you mean by we? Caroline.
Stay close.
It means
I'm the
Sam,
jump master.
Iron, and others. Fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and money laundering. Sassoon,
Respawn
did
beacon
you
over there.
commit these crimes alone? Ellison replied, no, they were committed. with
Dropping
Sam.
in. Hang
Caroline
on.
Ellison would go on to say that the decision to use FTX consumer funds to cover Alameda's losses was, quote, Sam's decision. Interestingly, in the court hearing, she also mentioned that Sam wanted to become the president of the United States. I'm sure that would be interesting. She would also go on to testify on how important Sam's injuries, including specifically his head.
Attention.
Sam once stated, quote, honestly think
The
it's
battle
negative
happens quick.
estimated
Be
value
ready.
for me to cut my hair. I think it's important for people to think I look crazy.
Round one.
Sam's attorney would
Beginning
later
ring
hilariously
countdown.
state, quote, was a time
Already
when
inside.
Sam was probably the worst dressed CEO in the world, worst haircut, but that's not a crime. In the end, Ellison pleaded guilty to 7 criminal charges, including wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering. She also admitted to giving her parents a $100,000 loan. Arthur Freed and Joseph Bankman, and ironically, they're both professors of this legal ethics at Stanford Law. It's suspected that their expertise, reputation, and connections helped FTX seem legitimate, at least in the beginning.
Extra supplies over
Sam's
here.
parents attended almost every day of the trial, close advisors to Sam. Sam even previously referred to FTX as, quote,
Who's
a family
scanning me?
business at one point. During the court case, it was revealed that at least Sam's dad is a piece of work. In a revealed email exchange, he complained that being paid $200,000 for advertising FTX was a pittance. Quote, gee Sam, I don't know what to say here. This is the first I have heard of a $200K a year salary, putting Barbara on this. That was listened to his son in January 2022. Sam seemingly listened to his
We're all
parents.
inside the ring.
Less than 2
Good.
weeks later, they received $10 million from Alameda Research and $10 million Bahamas property. During the court case, a major problem for Sam was that he just didn't keep his mouth shut. Before his arrest, the FTX founder with a string of high-profile media interviews,
New
he
kill
appeared on
leader. Go on,
podcasts
watch out.
and tweeted incessantly. And in the courtroom, the comments that he would make during these interviews came back to haunt him. During his cross-examination, time and time again, the prosecution
You hear
would
that?
refer to
There's a
incriminating
care package
statements
coming
that
down.
Sam gave during these media tours. They would ask Sam, "So, did he say this statement?" And Sam would always say, "I don't remember." And then the prosecution would show evidence of him saying that exact thing. Paul Tuchman,
Calling
a
it a
former
lifeline
prosecutor,
package.
sums it up perfectly. If there's anything for Bankman-Fried to regret, it is not the decision to testify, but the public statements he made before his case. He made it significantly easier for the prosecution. He made his bed. Now he's lying.
Half the squads remain.
Sam Bankman-Fried got demolished in the courtroom. He stood up to hear what the jury had decided. In only a matter of hours, they found him guilty on all counts. Once the verdict was read, he sat back down, with no emotion. His parents, on the other hand, appeared distraught. According to Wired magazine, quote, SBF's father, Joseph Bankman, leaned forward, holding his hands on the side of his head. His mother, Barbara Fried, clutched her hands to her face. Before long, they were holding one another. It was over for
Phoenix
SBF.
Kid here.
He was whisked away, and he took one last look at his parents, only giving a small, resigned nod of acknowledgement. With that, he was gone. Sam Bankman-Fried faces up to 115 years in prison. Is he going to get that much time? Doubt it. Although the founder of FTX will be sentenced on March 28, 2024, so we'll have to wait and see. At least for the moment, he's going to remain incarcerated in Brooklyn, New York, the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Careful, hostile
Sam
landed near me.
Bankman-Fried was seen as the most responsible man in crypto. His exchange, FTX, was a sure bet, extremely safe. He was even poised
Get out of here while
despite
we
liking
can.
the
Follow
law
me.
for crypto regulation.
Across the skull.
He testified before Congress multiple times, had close connections to lawmakers, in part thanks to $100 million in political donations. But now, he's one of the most famous criminals of the 2020s. And with that is where we stand on the Sam Bankman-Fried case. So thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon for the next episode. Cheers, guys.
I've been downed.
Hail drone if you need it. Just giving my shields a recharge.
Me, Mutahar, and today is a very rare video. It's a video where apparently I think I'm defending XQC.
Consider your circuit
Now, about a
broken.
month, two
Get
months ago, I had a little bit of a, argument with this individual
That
because
way.
me and
Come
him
on.
just did not get along or see eye to eye
Evo
in
shield here.
terms of
Level 2.
reaction content. Now, for those of you who need a quick primer, XQC was lambasted in front of the world because he would just put on somebody else's video, get up, go somewhere else, and just basically freeboot a video, you know? Kind of like the stuff you'd see from SS Sniper Wolf. I would argue a little bit lazier because at least she's there on the chair watching. But ladies and gentlemen, today I gotta kind of defend him on a little bit of a point that I find to be wild. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I shouldn't have to be the one to tell you that aside from uploading content onto the internet and, you know, this world that we have, this fun little corner of the internet, there is a real world out there with real world problems. And one of them is an actual war going on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you've obviously probably heard of the Israel-Palestine situation. And if you ever wonder why I've not talked about it when it initially dropped weeks ago, that's because I'm not an expert, okay? I'm just a guy on the internet that plays video games, talks about video game stuff, talks about internet culture stuff, and from time to time, I will definitely look into viruses, the deep web, and do crazy shit. So again,
Come
that's
on,
pretty
we've
much
got
the
work to
extent of my expertise, if you can call it that. There are far more channels out there that give far more journalistic coverage into this stuff.
I use heavy
Something that
artillery.
I can never do because it's not something that I have any expertise in. Now, XQC uploaded a video onto his main channel, or rather, let me be correct here, the editor did, okay? Learning about the Israel-Palestine
Introducing your
conflict so you
champion.
don't have to. Now, that's pretty wild title over there, okay?
I'll be
Real
going,
sounds kind
and
of
you'll be gone.
condescending, if we're going to be honest here. But to understand, XQC was lambasted for this in front of the world. He had this clip from his Flips channel where he was paused, slick facing, like, let me do that. One of those, you know? XQC reacts.
Spotted a
to
weapon
an
supply
actual,
bin over there.
Hit the jets, we're dropping hot.
Community vilifies his behaviors that you're literally just uploading this to make a few bucks off the AdSense because people are going to be searching for this tragic event in that period of time. And you could argue the same thing for XQC. Now, time could change. And in my opinion, XQC's defense, there are plenty of channels that are covering this situation right now. For instance, some of the largest political channels on the internet, Destiny for instance, has covered this topic for weeks now with several banger, high-viewed videos. Creators like Hasarabi, who is one of the largest political streamers in the planet, has covered this topic and discussed it. Now you can argue that these guys obviously have a background on the subject. This is content that pertains to them, okay? This is why I don't make Roblox roleplay video content, because nobody comes to my channel to watch fucking Roblox roleplay high school content, okay? Just like nobody, and that's sort of the point that I'm making over
First
here, right?
blood. Good thing it's not us.
These guys are just able to cover this content without that ick associated with covering actual tragic breaking events. Now, does that mean that people should be locked out from discussing what they want? Absolutely not. And in this case, actually, and in defense of XQC, because I really don't think anybody should be allowed to make this kind of content, period. Now, you might consider it to be scummy, but at the same time, I look at it from the bigger picture perspective. Obviously, this content will be covered. And on YouTube, it already is. If you go and search up this actual topic right now, you'll probably find that YouTube content is coming from like actual verified, trusted news sources, right? YouTube has a special designation for like large-scale media channels like Fox News, for instance, or CNN, or you know Vox, or Vice, or a lot of these big publications, and they're typically allowed to discuss these topics with no impunity. They have ads played on there, they're not deboosted in the algorithm, and they're able to get by and discuss really serious situations. YouTubers, in a lot of ways, are mostly hampered. Oftentimes, their content will get demonetized, it will get age restricted, and yeah, that's pretty much how it runs by.
Makes your platform more versatile.
A while back discussing the North Korean poisoning of one of the Kim families. And I used a clip from the New York Times, or I believe. And that clip got taken down. That clip, not taken down, it got age restricted. The same clip that played without an age restriction on a major news network.
Come and get your birthday present.
I'm always like, okay, YouTubers can also do journalism.
You hear that? There's a care package coming down.
Content creation like how. Now, XQC is where that whole argument, I'm going to leave right there. XQC is not exactly one of the biggest experts in the world, okay? I'm going to play you a clip from one of his analyses on the topic, and we'll kind of laugh at it together.
Let's check out this area.
David shortly after that, these are really bad looking bad. Why don't they just, I didn't know something like that. Why don't they take a whole piece of land, full reset, all the same, and just call it like a landia.
Yeah, you're real fucking diplomatic.
It's in the Middle East.
Yeah, sometimes I love that childlike wonder, dude. But yeah, that's you know, this is the kind of guy we should have sent for peace in the Middle East, I guess you could say. Now, of course, this video is learning about the conflict.
Level 2.
And again, even if it's content watching a whole range of content in its entirety, just to understand this really complicated situation right now. God help you if you're going to XQC to learn about a topic like this. To go back to it, there's a lot of other creators creating content about this topic, so I think to single out XQC is a little bit too much, okay? I really don't think it's okay. I think it's actually hypocritical to go after him for covering this content if, like, pretty much a grand majority of, like, political YouTube already is. Like, I think it's just weird to do.
Check.
However, this is where my niceties kind of end, okay? Because what XQC does next is downright sad
Always
and
better
crazy,
than iron
okay?
sights.
So, in response to this topic, I'm gonna flashbang you with something that I swear to God I didn't fake, okay? XQC responds, huh? And he shows a bag of money. All right? He's got 2 bands up to his like head. All right, he's flexing that cash.
Got sniper ammo here.
Obviously, people will look at this and say, "My God, talk about being tone deaf, ladies and gentlemen. There are kids that are less tone deaf than
Got some
this
extra
entire
supplies
situation." Okay,
You're
this
welcome.
is just blatantly stupid. Now, of course, XQC
Backpack
was
here. Level
another
2.
creator, good friend of the show, White says, "Your soul remains empty." To which XQC always responds with, "Your bank account relates," where he shows this watch. Now, I don't know exactly how much this watch costs. All I do know is that you could probably replace a goddamn 9-banger with this if you throw it into a room, so it's clearly got some utility, ladies and gentlemen. But again, it's so weird to me that one of the largest streamers in the world who actually has talent, like XQC is so
New
weird.
kill leader,
It's not
go
like
on, watch
I'm
out.
witnessing like a douche tuber from back like in 2015 that literally just showcased cash to like a 12-year-old audience to make themselves seem cool. No, this is like an actual talented individual who quite literally has let money go to his head. Now, money's one of those things in my life that
Taking fire. Enemy shields broke.
and XQC seems to have a very dim amount of it.
Just giving my shields a recharge.
Honestly, as far as I'll ever talk about this specific situation, I really don't think innocent civilians on either side dying is okay. I think the government's responsible for this.
Just a script. Here's your birthday
In
present.
terms of creating reports, feeding them to the Palestinians, telling them that hey, we're going to attack them, while simultaneously cutting off their network, food, water, resources. I mean, like that is just downright evil from the outside looking in. And obviously, a
Next
terrorist
ring's not
organization
close.
that's somehow being defended by a few individuals is downright insane to me. There are terror situations involved that should be unanimously fucking
Replicator on its way
hated, okay,
down.
by everyone, because ultimately these organizations use civilians to hide them. That's pretty much where the extent of my actual research goes, okay? If you somehow disagree with me saying civilians shouldn't be dying, then I think the problem lies with you. I have talked about serious situations on my channel too. So again, I've talked about the do not join the cyber war. Now this is a video I made about a year ago, over a year ago, where I actually used my resources, my understanding of the cyber warfare department, and understanding malware, viruses,
Airstrike danger close.
and I showcased how Russian state organizations were actually spreading like attacking tools and just getting random people to download them and use them.
New kill leader. Eyes out for.
Campaign between Russia and Ukraine. Now obviously I made this video because I understand
Check
this
your sectors.
topic,
Another
and
squad
I
is incoming.
understand the technology behind all of it. And a lot of this was telling people not to get involved in something
45 seconds,
that can
ring.
cause
Cracked an enemy
other
shield.
people obvious harm, and also you yourself are getting involved. I don't think making content on serious situations is bad or unmonetizable if you actually have something worthwhile to provide to it. XQC does not. XQC is not an intelligent individual when it comes to this topic. He's smart when it comes to a bunch of other shit, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to this stuff, it just comes across
Got
as
another
ridiculous.
squad. Arm
And
up.
I do agree
You
with
and
him
me
in
now.
the sense that there's other creators who create content talking
Another
about this
squad has
subject,
entered the scene.
but then it all fucking gets thrown into the wind when this guy's just out there flexing money like a YouTuber from 2015. Yeah, XQC is a real hard guy to love these days, and honestly, you know, I wanted to make this video to kind of look into XQC again, because it showed up in my feed, and honestly, it sucked to see exactly this show up. It really felt like I was hit with that, like, 2010 YouTube gaming era when some creators actually
Recharge
use,
my
like,
shields.
really insane scenarios
Patch me
to
up,
push
Doc.
their metrics a little bit higher. But it's also one of those scenarios
Patch
that
me
I'm
up,
looking
Doc.
at here that isn't just necessarily related to XQC either. It's also related to YouTube in large as well, right? Like, clearly, I think if you're a creator, you should be allowed to discuss these things, obviously, if they fall within your purview. I think if you just do this as sort of like, I think it's really shitty for a lot of people to look at what XQC is doing, because it really, from the outside, looks like he's watching this, like it's YouTube videos, like it's drama content, when in reality, these are real people's lives currently being uprooted and destroyed. It's one of the reasons, actually, why I didn't even cover the Johnny, the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. Not because I didn't have interest in it, but because it felt like a lot of YouTube friends and the people watching that content were treating an abuse trial as if it was actually just like a team sport, okay? And there are limits to it, okay? Obviously, could I cover this kind of content and get massive viewership and massive subscribers from it? Yeah. Obviously, that's how trends work. But there has to be some ethical limit involved in it. And I kind of wish XQC saw it the way that I see it. But yeah, it's weird, man, honestly. There's not much to say other than, goddamn, expectations were low, but somehow drilled me right to the center of the earth, my man. Anyways, me, Mutahar, and yeah. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe, dislike, dislike, I'm out.
What happens when you take the world's best night vision goggles into the world's darkest room?
You start to feel a little strange.
Falling in a lifeline package. Got to cheat myself.
When you go there, when your eyes may close, you should not be able to. Almost no focus.
Invisible.
That's right. Good start.
No way.
Replicator.
These are the
Replicator on its way down.
That is incredible. One of the best night vision goggles in the world. It is literally like night and day. We visited a Navy base in Crane, Indiana to put them to the test in all kinds of darkness.
Rings close. Only 1 minute to go.
My first time looking for night vision goggles. And oh wow. Oh my god. To make a video about night vision
Rings not
goggles,
that far.
we had to film in the pitch dark, which is really hard because cameras work by focusing photons of light down onto a sensor. And they're the photons knock off electrons generating a charge. This converted into a voltage.
30-second tip
Divided
loss.
into ones and
Wiki.
zeros for each pixel. Now there's a setting we made use of which is called ISO, which essentially boosts that voltage to make the whole image brighter. For reference, this is what a scene lit only by a single candle looks like at an elevated ISO of 6,400.
Only
Now,
10
in
seconds
a
left.
split screen, let me show you what this looks like at an ISO of 64,000. Now you can see a lot more detail.
Just giving my shields a recharge.
This is pretty similar to the level of detail that the human eye can see in low light situations. And now this is what it looks like on our camera's maximum ISO of 409,600. All of the dark scenes in this video were shot at this maximum ISO. But look how dark it is compared to just a single candle. This is because the Navy base was located in the middle of nowhere, and we turned off all the street lights. Right.
Patch me up,
We
Joe.
planned the shoot specifically for a moonless night. In these conditions, I'm going to try to drive a military tactical vehicle with nothing but night vision goggles on for sight. I hope that can drive. But the type of night vision goggles you use is essential. All affordable night vision goggles work the same way. They're basically the same as strapping a flashlight onto your head, except the light they give off is not visible, but near infrared, wavelengths that are just longer than our eyes can see. Then they have a camera that can capture that near infrared light and display what the camera sees on the screen on the back. This is the simplest and cheapest version of night vision. It's called active illumination. There are actually 3 different types of night vision.
1 minute
Night
till
vision
ring
is
close.
different categories of technologies, ones that create their own light, ones that amplify existing light, and ones that image in the emissive infrared bands.
And while the other types of night vision can cost thousands,
45 until ring
our
close.
active
It's
illuminators
near.
cost less
Easy.
than $200. It's very zoomed in.
It's not a one-to-one.
It's not a one-to-one. Because they are far cheaper and easier to make than any other kind of night vision, active
30
illumination
seconds
is what's
until
used in
close.
almost all
Wicked.
commercial night vision goggles, or nighttime security cameras. These were the first night vision goggles I wore to attempt to drive in pure darkness. I have no idea where the fuck this is. If you could see this, you would be terrified.
Just 10 seconds.
I'm looking out of the road, and I have the focus
Falling in a
set to the
lifeline
first
passage. Got to treat yourself. Top our teammates' banner.
This is
Don't worry, I got a squad next time.
Feels very zoomed in. It is bouncing, and it's not really bouncing in time with anything. It is just like bouncing. If we hit a parked car right now, I would not be surprised. Oh god.
Okay, straight it out. Straight it out.
Ben has military night vision goggles on, so he can actually see where we're going.
And let's hold it.
If I had to interact with somebody, I've tried so many times. I also feel like so there's that. This is one of the aspects of illumination. There's a significant delay between what the camera sees and what's displayed on screen.
The whole studio system is the fastest you could ever be frame rate. So if it's 24 frames per second, the fastest you could be in delay.
Here, Johnny, if you need to pass that close. Off the mic. I'm spotted. Healing.
That's enough.
Watch my
It'll
back.
make people get motion sickness and lose their coordination.
Taking fire.
Do you want to throw me a frisbee?
Off the mic. Spotted. Give my shields a recharge.
1 minute. Rings near.
I can't see anything.
Shield cell here.
I think I'm gonna have to take these off shortly.
Taking
There's
a knee.
crazy
Catching up.
rolling shutter. And everything's jiggling
Recharge
around
your
in
shield.
front of me.
Got
Another
some
drawback to
materials
back
here.
illumination is
45
that you're
seconds.
way more
Bring in
limited,
fire.
since you can
There's
only
one up there.
see as far as the light shines.
Hostile right here.
But the main reason you can't use these in the military is simple. They aren't passive. There's a bright beacon of near
Bring in
infrared
fire.
light, so
Half of one.
enemies can easily spot you. In fact, military night vision goggles are totally different technology, but they can still see in the near infrared. And this is why we've been filming through them to capture the light from the active illuminators. Have you ever been out at night with night vision goggles and sort of spotted someone who's got like an active illumination device?
Rings around the corner. 10 left.
Comment on that.
Fair enough. Military night vision goggles need to be far more concealed, so they don't use active illuminators. Instead, they rely exclusively on the second type of night vision, image intensification. So should we try and blue goggles? Oh my goodness. It is literally like night and day. Let's do this.
They're on top of us. They're on top of
Straight
us.
to the cone. I'm gonna go to the left of this cone. Then I'm gonna go
On the
in
building
between
up
them.
above.
Oh, yeah.
Creep out.
Just like driving in the day. This technology uses only the existing light from a scene. When photons enter goggles, like these PBS-31As, they get physically amplified so that way more photons come out the other end to reach your eyes. And in terms of like, how much brighter it makes the light, can you comment on
Enemy spotted. Near me.
And they're very light, so people can wear them for more than 10 hours straight, all powered by a single AA battery.
Final round.
Driving the vehicle
Beginning
now was
ring
super easy.
countdown.
So easy that I got a little bit overconfident. There's
Who's next
delay
up?
in the
45.
seat, so you can shake the goggles and
Tango
the goggles
spotted. Big close.
Fine from right in.
Two
to
other
right
squads
back
left.
out.
Stay focused.
You can
Still
get
anyone's
down to
coming.
7 seconds, quicker, man.
Listen up, I'm calling a lifeline back at you.
This is when we found an unexpected benefit of night vision. The stars are phenomenal. Through the goggles, starlight is
seconds.
amplified
Rings just
enough
ahead.
to light your entire environment. This also means that the entire night sky gets revealed in its full glory. Emily, you were gonna have mind blown.
Final ring's closing in. It's gonna be FUBAR.
Listen up, I'm getting shot at.
Okay.
Look out, grenade. Deploying headshot. Recharging my shield.
We got company, people.
That these night vision goggles have a limited field of view.
Their shield now.
One
use.
Throwing unspotted. Taking fire.
They're also the same goggles.
Rick James says, anti.
On Osama bin Laden.
Scrappy DP says, GG.
That's amazing.
It just makes me so much more confident to be able to see. The last thing that makes these military goggles feel so natural is their incredible resolution.
When we characterize the night vision 2, we don't think about it in terms of pixels or resolution in that sense. We think about it in terms of line pairs per millimeter. So how many line pairs can you resolve within 1 millimeter physical space?
For a pair of night vision goggles to be military grade, you need to be able to resolve at least 64 line pairs per millimeter.
So there's a almost qualitative like but very skilled and historic process for how these are quantified for their performance.
Is it like years of training or
Episode of this possibly. Is this I'm gonna go completely different? Okay, there's a bright chart. Right? It says what 2 or 1 time? Doesn't say that.
We can't say what it's supposed to really says.
Okay, I won't say what it is.
We ran into this issue a lot.
I can't really answer that. Come on. So the process to make the microchannel plate and photocathode, we can't.
So much about the night vision goggles is a secret, since they're still cutting edge. This video is the absolute limit of what the Navy is willing to reveal publicly about their night vision. Though we're not allowed to show the exact bar test, we can show these.
You see similar bars that we had in the night vision are out here through the trees, and then we've got, so maybe go with this other corner, you can see different distances. The bigger the object gets, the farther away you can see, and so you need farther and farther away calibration targets to understand the resolution and quality of those things. We do a lot of lab characterization and modeling, how far it'll be able to see, but the ultimate test is to come out to the real world.
We use line pairs per millimeter to describe the goggle's resolution because image intensification is analog, not digital. This is the secret to how they emulate our normal vision so well. Digital cameras have refresh rates and resolution limits to worry about because they'll convert photons into discrete values on pixels. But image intensifiers are a continuous, real-time, one-to-one way to amplify light. Limited light, like stars, reflect off the scene and send some photons toward the image intensification tube. The lens focuses these photons onto the tube as an upside-down image, where they go through 3 steps. First, the photon hits the thin plate called a photocathode, made from semiconductors or alkaline metals. When a photon hits the plate, an electron in that part of the plate gets excited and is ejected into the vacuum. Next, the electrons are accelerated through the vacuum tube via voltage. They head straight into another thin plate called the microchannel plate, and this is made from insulating material, often glass, with about 6 million
I knew this had happened.
channels.
Let's
These
explore
are
that
all
tree.
angled at about 5 degrees to get incoming electrons to collide with the channel walls. When they do, they release more electrons from the wall material, which collide even more with the wall, releasing more electrons, creating an electron avalanche. So a few electrons go in, and a flood of thousands come out. Then this flood of electrons leaves each channel and gets
Scrappy
accelerated
DP
in a
says,
straight line
how do I make it so that rate is not my second alternative if I...
This is just a screen made of material that glows when exposed to radiation, so it converts the electron kinetic energy back into visible photons for you to see. So every photon that enters the tube gets multiplied thousands of times over while maintaining its position, which makes for a brighter but otherwise identical image. As a last step, there are 20 million optical fibers attached to the phosphor screen that twist the image right side up.
Photocathode,
1 minute, ring's not far.
Gap, the phosphorus screen is all in this section. The rest of this is
They're all in this corner.
Oh wow. For decades, the phosphor screen was always green. It's this historic phosphor choice.
Ring's not too far.
that's responsible
45
for
left.
all the classic green night vision we know from movies and TV shows. But the human eye doesn't see best in the green zone. There are two types of photoreceptors on your retina.
Less than 30 seconds. New shield broken.
And they're good at
Reloading.
distinguishing color. They're located in the center of the retina. Rods are better for low light vision, and they're located at the edges of your retina. This is why you can sometimes see dim stars at the corner of your eye, but they disappear if you look straight at them. The light sensitivity of rods is
Just 10 seconds.
part of visible vector, so that's why our PDS-31As look like this. They're created to white phosphor, which looks slightly blue overall, making it easier for people to make out. To see how well these night vision goggles amplify light, and cover them up entirely, except for a little thumbtack hole. This lets in only a tiny bit of light, but the view through the goggles is still brighter than the room itself. We couldn't expose the night vision goggles to any more light than this, but not because of anything
It would still function, but you wouldn't want to do that for a very long period of time. It's got how much
Picked up our
charge
teammate's banner.
by the screen and increase
Getting
light
shot at.
saturate
Picked up our
that
teammate's banner.
circuit.
But what happens if we push image intensification to its opposite limit? By
Boy,
using
jump in.
goggles with no light at all. When it comes to night vision goggles, there's a place where it is absolutely pitch dark, underground, all sealed off. Basically no photons. It's going to be completely disoriented.
So we're in an underground range here at Navy Base Crane, and this place is usually used to test small arms weapons, but we can also seal it up and make it very dark, all the way down to where there's almost no visible light whatsoever.
So there's basically zero light in here. Almost no photons.
Catching myself up.
Invisible, that's right.
We are now going to turn off all the lights and make it completely pitch black.
Recharging my shields.
But on top of that,
Testing 1, 2, 3.
full of smoke. So even with night vision goggles, we might have no luck at all. If you are in pure darkness for a long period of time, what happens?
You start to feel a little strange, kind of like being in an anechoic chamber where you can't hear things. The lack of sensory perception can sometimes start to give a little bit of vertigo or uneasy feeling to some.
Okay. Pitch darkness. Okay, my night vision's on.
Wow, I actually can't see anything from this.
With PDS-31As in pure darkness, you mainly just see their analog processing in effect.
Oh my god, it just looks like a blizzard.
When I look that way, I see almost nothing. I just get snow. All this noise comes from electrons getting pulled through the goggles in two ways.
What?
One is thermionic emission. Some electrons
The champion made a poor choice.
Speak up! What'd you say?
I think I come back with my weapons.
I return. Target spotted.
Oh yeah, weapons and my shield. Let's go.
Hostile spotted.
For real?
Dibs.
There's people over here.
What would you like to do? Go up here?
Let's check out that way.
Looting?
A trail to one Scotty. Let us catch them unaware.
Shooter, move. Heads up. New kill leader. taking shots.
I am taking fire. I am down but alive. Grenade!
Punching a tunnel. Next ring's up. Portal placed.
12 here. 12 here.
Throw my grenade out.
If you can.
Got a replicator coming in. Boy jumping. This won't hurt. Hold on. One second, we got this.
I don't know if you saw that fake out that I did on them, but yeah. Maybe it looked like I was going over the edge, but I wasn't.
Will have enough energy to escape the metal. And the other is due to the electric field. There's such a strong electric field in that tube that it'll pull some electrons off the photocathode. Can you make out the face? Because, I mean, there's a little bit of light coming out of the goggles that might hit my face. Because imaging can only amplify existing light, its one limitation is that it requires a light source. It can be tiny, but there has to be something. If you're in absolute darkness, even active illumination is a better bet. Now this is advantageous because if you're in a really black room, then you do kind of need to light it a little bit, unless you use the final type of night vision, thermal imaging. With my naked eye, I can't make out the exit sign, but with the goggles, I know it's up there. While image intensification attempts to match your normal vision, thermal imaging goes beyond it. In the electromagnetic spectrum, the infrared range has longer wavelengths than the visible range. All the shorter wavelengths, up to mid-wave infrared light, are reflective, meaning that everyday objects don't emit these wavelengths on their own. You need a light source. To see my shirt, we can't be in the dark. We need visible light to reflect the blue to your eyes. And that's why we needed the near-infrared lights on the active illumination devices. But the long infrared range is actually emissive, meaning that it doesn't need a light source at all. That's because all objects emit electromagnetic radiation, and the shape of their spectra follows Planck's law. You can see that only extremely hot objects like stars have significant emission in the shorter wavelengths like visible light. But virtually everything emits in the infrared. Because thermal imaging doesn't require any external light like image intensifiers do, and it doesn't need to create its own light like active illuminators do, it's undefeated in completely black situations like the underground range. It's also the best choice when there's fog or smoke obstructing the view. I am about to walk into the fog in this range, and we'll see if I disappear in the visible, and then you guys can look and see if we can pick me up on the infrared cameras.
Yeah, I can't see you at all now. Derek's getting his full workout.
I had no idea we'd be so emissive. Thermal imaging also sees things your eyes never could, like objects that have been buried underground, or recently touched by someone's hand. The last advantage of thermal imaging is its unbeatable range, even better than the military night vision goggles. We set up a distance test hundreds of meters away from the tower to compare the infrared cameras against PBS-31As. With the naked eye on a moonless night, this is what someone holding a cigarette lighter looks like from that distance. This is how it looks through the night vision goggles, and this is how it looks through the infrared cameras. To get even more sun and remove all direct light, This is what a person checking their phone looks like in those conditions. Totally invisible to the naked eye, discernible through the night vision goggles, and perfectly clear through the infrared cameras. But thermal imaging has its weaknesses as well.
I'm Jumpmaster, but I'm open to suggestions.
Delays, just like active elimination. Thermal imaging goggles aren't popular because high-quality infrared cameras are too big.
I got your back. Let's charge.
And since they only detect thermal radiation, you can't even see lettering on signs, for example. This is looking at it in the infrared. Anything that is visible solely through the light reflects often is invisible to thermal cameras.
EDFD. I don't know what that is. ZF or ZT?
Currently, there is no one best measure. They all have trade-offs between things like resolution, delay, light saturation, concealment, and portability. The entire history of night vision has been driven by trying to minimize these trade-offs. The first night vision technology, known as Gen 0, was developed for sniper scopes during World War II and the Korean War. They used active infrared illumination, much like the commercial night vision goggles of today. Then Gen 1 night vision was developed for the Vietnam War. These used basic image-inspired tubes with just a photocathode and screen, no microchannel plate. They stacked 3 of them together in a row, making them extremely bulky and distorted to look through. But the resulting scopes were sensitive enough to operate just off light from the moon and stars, giving them the nickname Starlight. Gen 2 night vision was developed in the 60s and 70s and added the microchannel plate to the image-inspired tube, increasing sensitivity so that they could be used in dark conditions like on cloudy or moonless nights. This addition also made the tubes much more compact, allowing the first sets of handheld night vision goggles to be created. The last generation, Gen 3, became available in the late 80s. These changed the photocathode material into a semiconductor gallium arsenide in order to better convert photons to electrons. They also coated the microchannel plate with an ion barrier film to increase the life of the tube from 3,000 to 10,000 hours. Though there hasn't been an official new generation of night vision goggles in over 30 years, researchers are constantly working on new improvements.
Some of the basic research aspects that I can talk about are looking at how to extend the infrared regime of the detectors overall, looking at areas to have devices that
looks like a care package is coming in. Big things in that.
How did you get into night vision goggles?
I was in the Marine Corps in infantry in early 2000s, and we still used a similar model as this one right here in Operation Iraqi Freedom. That was one of the actually driving factors of why I got into this field. I was using things like
Evo
this
Shield here, level 2.
Great. You know, they could have been better. We were also using infrared systems that were
Evo Shield here, level 2.
And so kind of using those in the field and feeling like, you know, asking that question to yourself, why is it not better?
And the value of night vision extends far beyond the military.
What sort of applications do people use these for?
Search and rescue, or places where maybe there's not power, it's too dark to see, and you want to be able to do things quickly.
Thermal imaging has grown to become an entire industry, with infrared cameras used in everything from firefighting to building inspections to medical imaging. And the microchannel plate, first developed for night vision, now sits aboard space telescopes like the Chandra X-ray Observatory, helping us discover the hidden world beyond what is simply visible by eye.
Wow, that's beautiful. I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Standard stock here.
Level 2. It's in the dark, but you have night vision on.
Here's your birthday present.
Testing.
Extended heavy mag here, level 2.
Truly appreciate new innovation.
Extended heavy mag here, level 3. Evo Shield here, level 3.
In fact, you can do it from anywhere with this video sponsor, Brilliant. And you can get started for free.
Extended heavy mag here, level 2.
.org/Veritasium. Brilliant is the best way to master key concepts in everything from technology to math, data science, programming, you name it. Just set your goal, and Brilliant will design a path to get you there. And if your goal is keeping pace with the latest tech, Brilliant's latest course, How Large Language Models Work, is the perfect place to start. How Large Language Models Work takes you under the hood of real language models, demystifying technologies like ChatGPT with interactive lessons on everything from how models build vocabulary.
Bringing back our...
To me, some of the most hilariously intriguing...
I need an extended light mag. I need a hop-up. Hammer point.
Extended light mag here. Already been almost 3 months since I put out a video that was, well, if I'm being honest, a Trojan horse for shooting down bad Meteor Lake rumors that, well, ended up being correct. I said that there is not a full Meteor Lake rooftop launch happening, and eventually Intel corrected some misleading statements. And, well, look, I say that video then eventually you'll explore, because, well, I had actually been saving that sin eventually for weeks. I chose that video because, well, I didn't think a Intel correction video would be interesting enough to a lot of people, and so I thought, why don't I jazz it up by adding some benchmarks? And, well, the point is, those benchmarks at the time were underwhelming, but to be fair, I was also told that they were coming from non-final silicon in test systems that really weren't built to test efficiency or show the final performance of the product, and that I did expect it to improve. I did say that I did expect that performance to improve that maybe double digits by the final release, but not like 30% or something. And that's because the power consumption I was seeing, which I didn't want to talk about too many people misquoted. Well, today,
we're all inside the room.
I have almost final silicon benchmarks that kind of back up what I was expecting.
Calling in a lifeline package.
On screen, you can see a single Meteor Lake score of around 700. And then
Evo shield here, level 3.
Is around 7,700.
Med kit here.
20, and yeah, it's not
deploying health drone.
In some ways, it could be argued to be impressive, but look, if we compare this to its equivalent 6+8 Raptor Lake chip, we can see that although the multi-threading performance is higher, which is interesting, the single threading is still lower. And I guess to continue to try to be extra fair to Meteor Lake, we can point out that Raptor Lake system was pulling over 100 watts, and Meteor Lake is expected to the scores you're seeing today at lower than
Forget it.
But I actually have to reveal something else a bit too, and that's that it seems like to me, based on what I've heard from people I spoke to this week, that Meteor Lake's power efficiency performance per watt sweet spot is really apparently between 65 and 95 watts. And I actually ran this past people at Intel that said, yes, that's true. And so, I guess the performance expect that like 130 watt Raptor Lake performance to show up in like, I don't know, 75 to 90-ish watts systems. I don't know, call me crazy, but I was hoping for that 45 watts.
Listen up, I'm getting shot at.
I guess it's no wonder
recharging my shields.
Not to Raptor Lake, but to Alder Lake, which, let's remember, that will be
defend that area from
launch it, therefore could be then 5 strict 12-core APUs next year to their 8-core Zen 3 Plus Rev Bronze chip from over 2 years ago. That would just be seen as weird. It's and all of you that Meteor Lake's not going to be competing with Phoenix. It's really going to be competing with Hawkwind, which at a minimum I've competed with AI over Phoenix. And I believe that does have to come from clock speed. And so I suspect the GPU and CPU clocks are at least notably higher than its predecessor, and therefore, if we're really summing this all up, it's becoming more and more obvious that Meteor Lake's likely to win idle efficiency against Hawkwind and maybe low power casual workloads. But to push the point hard, I don't actually know that it's going to have that much of an edge. When I look at its design, it looks decently more expensive as well. But I guess that gets us to the main point of this video. Nova Lake, Lunar Lake, and Panther Lake, all these other things. Does Intel just have next year, then what do they actually have ready to launch in 2025 against all of those months? I'm tackling this today because I believe some of the statements in the earnings call were a little bit misleading, and I want to get to that in some big detail about Intel's e-cache editor, Nova Lake, was first in after response. This piece of content is brought to you by high quality pencil holder, keyboard support, and loading movement. Honestly, all of their stuff is incredibly high quality, and I'm so excited that we're sponsored by this. That's right, again.
Get your birthday present.
We've been told by competition is sliced in half. I'm down. Let's
Got a replicator coming down.
In durability and all types of wood destroyers. They come with an advanced one-touch LED control panel with 3 buttons for different and you can customize your desk with preferred
Rings
colors.
nearby, 1 minute till close.
Desk, and even desk frame and special styles also come with an incredible set of warranties. In fact, they're having a Black Friday sale right now, and you can support more content by using the code BROKENSILICON.
45 seconds, rings close.
Their E7, E7 Pro,
In possession of our brand new
Listen up, got another squad coming in.
Whereby, so check out FlexiSpot Desk today. Now, at least one thing I need to highlight from Intel's earnings call this week is that there was a claim that Alder, I'm sure they meant Arrow Lake, was demonstrating excellent functionality in Windows right now. And this stuck out to me immediately because I just was reminded of Intel also powered on it was performing well 2 whole damn years before now, and it's still not out. So just remember that even though Intel is claiming Arrow Lake is working right now, Meteor Lake over 2 years before it even came out. In fact, if Intel does manage to launch Arrow Lake by the end of
Looks like a care package is coming in. Big things in that.
Compared to Meteor Lake, because, well, according to what I have been told, Arrow Lake actually powered on in Q2 of this year, and launching Arrow Lake late next year would be about, I don't know, a year and a half from power on to release, whereas Meteor Lake was over 2 years from what I am told. And, well, yeah, I'll get to the rest of that quote very soon, but I want to highlight why I started asking about Panther Lake. It's because pretending that Panther Lake was ready in early 2025, which made absolutely no sense to me, because I'm confident Arrow Lake isn't launching until the end of 2024, and I know Lunar Lake comes after that. So then what, would Lunar Lake and Panther Lake launch at the same time? I had to reach out to all my sources about this at Intel, and I did, and if I put this on screen, let us just summarize the information right now. So, again, to clear up confusion, Arrow Lake powered on in Q2 of this year, and nobody that I've spoken to expects it to have a full launch until late Q4 2024. In fact, some people are worried it might not launch until December. And additionally, the sources I spoke with, one that was going to be quoted here, felt that the Q3 earning predicts lean. First of all, Lunar Lake is launching in the first half of 2025, or maybe end of 2024 if they can pull it up to a December launch next Arrow Lake. And then 18A, you know, the thing that Panther Lake will use, it may be ready sooner, like this claim from their recent rates. But Panther Lake, which will use 18A, I am told distinctly that will not be ready until Q4 2025. And I actually got a snippet of something out here. The big LLC last level cache version of Nova Lake, I asked and I have confirmed that this is definitely a direct answer to AMD's Vcache. Well, Intel's first real implementation of a Vcache competitor is apparently not launching until the first half of 2027, and I guess the non-LLC versions will launch in late 2026, which means, I mean, forget Zen 6. This thing is sounding more like a Zen 7 or even post-Zen competitor, which, yeah, I think we can then just say it. I just leaked some big, important information about all of AMD's upcoming APUs. So I do recommend people watch the app. AMD has Hotpoint, Strix Point, Androids and apparently more X3D variants of Dragon Range launching next year. And then by the time Intel finally launches Lunar Lake and Sierra Lake Mobile, they're going to have Strict Halo, Kraken, Escher, and more. And I just think AMD has the better APU for the next couple of years outside of specific scenarios. Well, I guess also I should say that the world will have some time to decide, or snow, I suppose, this December through probably February or something. So it really does have that few months there where they can shine, but after that, it just becomes really tough and fine for Intel and AMD contracts. Speaking of contracts and clients, this brings me to the final things I want to discuss about Intel and AMD's earnings that just came out for the past couple of weeks, because, well, I just worry if Intel can hold on for another 4 years based on what I'm seeing here, well, AMD erodes market share. You see, if I put this here, AMD likes showing quarter-over-quarter data, and it's because, for example, in data center, they are roaring upwards again out of this semiconductor recession they just waded through, whereas Intel, they don't want you to directly see quarter-over-quarter. If I pull up two sets of quarter information, they're actually down in data center from last quarter. Even though AMD's going back up, but their margins remain zero, which a report from Semi-Analysis shows this very well. AMD is getting 50% server market share, and I must emphasize the importance of this.
This is gonna be a good fight.
50% server market share, well, they make good margins, and Intel effectively isn't profiting on the average. Now, this is important to bring up because does anybody remember how NVIDIA ended up beating Radeon into the dust for a decade? And only now is Radeon starting to recover? Well, this was by allowing Radeon to hold 45 to 55% market share.
I'm the jump master. I'll cut us a path.
Direct price war. And you see, that was 15 years ago. NVIDIA held about half the market. Radeon held about half the market. But NVIDIA was making
I'm the jump master. Biko, bring your best.
Margins, well, they were 40 to 50%. And so think about it. When you have a
Scrappy DP says, I don't want to be Wraith.
You have one team that is 50% and the other team that is 50%. It's a war of attrition. The war of attrition in the corporate world is always won by the company that's holding 50% market share.
Scrappy DP says, how do I make it so IT doesn't choose her if I don't choose?
The other side is they will save up more money, put it into R&D, and then eventually just be able to out.
Scrappy DP says, I'm usually lifeline.
That is what AMD is. Wildly interesting to me. It seems like there's like a bit. The market is
extra supplies over here.
Expectations by someone that seems surprised at all. But I will say that AMD's earnings to me show that they could win a war.
Good, we're inside.
Got some materials for us.
And unfortunately, though, that's also why I think AMD is in gaming with Triple. It's also on screen. You can see that AMD actually increased their margins when
First
they sold
blood.
more.
Should have seen that coming.
Cards, which is important to point out because this completely debunks a lot of recent rumors I've been seeing that AMD is laying off divisions and considering canceling all Radeon desktop in the future. They are not. When they sell more dedicated desktop cards, they make higher margins than they are in console with PS5. They'd be idiots to stop making those. And of course, AMD already debunked rumors of laying people off from this ridiculous game of telephone that the press loves to play all the time. Anyways, though, gaming is important to AMD, and that includes desktop GPUs. Speaking of importance, though, I guess this is the final thing I need to highlight. I've been talking about upcoming GPU and client in Intel, and highlighted how AMD is close to getting 50% market share.
Got some materials.
Intel. Okay, well, the old adage was smug like nobody really knows the truth. Well, this does not seem to be true for Intel anymore. If you look at Intel's recent Q3 earnings, you can see that now for them, at this point, client is winning everything to them. And any investor that is looking at both of these companies to park their money needs to look at Intel's roadmap for the next 2 years. Not for the next 5 years. Remember, what's actually coming out in the next 2 years is just Arrow Lake.
Extended heavy mag here. Level 3.
Of Arrow Lake, which is a basically
Care package coming
that's
in.
all they got for the next 2 or so years. And then look at what
New kill
AMD
leader.
has coming
Watch for them.
over the next 2 or so years. And then remember that Client is the last bastion of billions of dollars of profitable revenue that Intel has. If AMD, or Qualcomm for that matter, successfully erodes this, Intel will have almost nowhere to go anymore. And so, well, I'm not going to speculate on how that will turn out for Intel over the next 2 years, but I will say with confidence, Intel's going to fight aggressively next year.
Level 2.
It's very obvious from recent leaks I've put out of upcoming AMD APUs, where they're launching like 6 APUs in a 12-month period. AMD is going to go for last.
Helmet here.
I expect Intel to fight back hard, because that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to like it, share it, subscribe, and ring that bell button so you actually get notifications of upcoming pieces of content. Speaking of content, consider joining the Patreon. Today, a 1.5-hour video going over the rise and fall of the PC gaming renaissance just came out. And ad-free and exclusive to patrons, you pay just $2 a month or more. If you have $2 a month to spare, there's hundreds of pieces of exclusive premium content to watch and listen to, and well, we can't do this without our patrons. So yeah, please consider joining our Patreon, support our sponsors that you need products from.
I says,
of course, as always,
lagging.
thank you for watching.
Listen up, I'm calling a lifeline package in.
Well, it looks like Starfield will finally be getting DLSS support officially, not requiring a mod, and they've also confirmed FSR 3 support incoming, although that will be in a future update. Even more future than the future update that will be coming with the DLSS support. That looks like that one will also get HDR controls. This will be in a Steam beta update next week. So,
Ultimate accelerant
it's good that Bethesda is finally moving forward with these things that people have been requesting since launch. It does seem to be taking a while to get them, and since it's taken this long to get DLSS support, which, you know, modders had out day one, I understand the game doesn't need to playtest everything and whatnot, but anyway, it seems like it's taken a while. I'm not quite sure how long it'll take then for us to get FSR 3 support, but at least it is confirmed. Now, we got tons more news to talk about today, but first, let me show you something really cool from today's sponsor, Power Color, with their Red Devil GPUs with their swappable Devil Skin backplates.
Helmet here. Level 2.
You will not have to be locked into just one design. You can choose the one that fits best for you. It easily swappable with magnets. We've got the intrusive Devil Skin, which is kind of the simpler, sleeker looking one, and we've got the mesh design called the Generative Devil Skin. These are all really cool. They just attach on with magnets. Excellent choice for a high-end GPU. Check the link in today's description. Now, Intel keeps plugging away on their GPU drivers, and this is really good news, because it'd be, you know, by the time they get their next generation out, if they had a lot of the software support issues ironed out, that, you know, they had problems with the ARC cards out initially, we could potentially see much stronger reviews from day one. And Intel has just been continually delivering these updates and shoring up their back catalog of all these, you know, games that need specific driver optimization, and they're kind of late to the party on that, and there's nothing you can do other than just kind of get in there and start doing it. We're seeing headlines of up to 750% performance increase. Now let's be careful if you dig into their actual driver notes. That is true in the Master Chief Collection specifically, at 1080p with enhanced settings. Now, my guess is I have myself is probably to a not open game. And the average of the is significant.
Reloading.
You're not leaving until it drops.
Need to recharge my shields.
It's not nonsense, and they're just continuing to play with this. How about some video news?
One more. Rings pretty close. Right through my grenade.
Update
call it variants. We're talking about their power consumption.
Patching myself up.
Now, this leak is coming from Top-7 who, if you've monitored GPU leaks for a while, is one of the most well-known and most quoted GPU leakers. Doesn't mean everything that he says comes to pass, but a lot of them that could be the case, the things are getting bounced around behind the scenes at NVIDIA, and you know, what they're thinking about one day might not end up being what they end up deciding on and ends up shipping to the market. So, this is a reply
half gone,
to a previous
half left.
that I already talked about. But the reply now is they will have the same power consumption than non-super models, so basically they're not shifting their power consumption. Now
Enemy spotted.
Quick recap of the actual specs leaks that I reported on previously. So the 4080 Super variant is being reported as a 5% core count increase versus the non-super variant, which, you know, isn't mind-blowing. The 4070 Ti Super versus the 4070 Ti would be a 10% increase in core count, and again, core count isn't always a direct indicator of the exact performance uplift. That can be affected by a variety of other things as well. But the 4070 Super versus the 4070 non-super is actually rumored at a 22% increase, which is much more significant. Now, whether any of these actually end up coming to market, and if so, do they come to market in these variants, all remains a question mark, and the biggest question mark would be the pricing. If they come in at the same pricing as their non-super counterparts, you know, that would be one thing. If they just slot in above them and don't replace them in the market or don't push them down, that's another thing. Now, when will we be getting these if we get them at all? The videocards.com article on this topic does have a quote where they said that they asked board partners. So the videocards.com article, you know, the author here has contact with board partners, and they're saying they do not anticipate any significant announcement this year. So would we see it by the end of 2023? Sounds like probably not, otherwise board partners would probably be aware of that. So they're saying that you would probably expect no earlier than next year. Now, what they do mention here is power consumption numbers that we're now hearing this latest rumor. So, for the GPU cooler manufacturers, board partners, the main things that they would is would you be incompatible with previous variants, and what is the power consumption limits for cooling? Because I think that would give them what they would need in order to move forward with those
Replicator incoming.
you know, cooler model designs, and if it's compatible with models that we already have out, that kind of thing. Now, in AMD GPU news, we are seeing Sapphire board partner unveiling an Arabian
1 minute.
RX 67
Ring's pretty close.
12GB Aurora OC edition, and they're claiming up to 30% faster than RTX 4060 at a similar price. Now, I've
1
also
second, we
reported
got
on
this.
6750 GRE, and there's two variants of it.
45 seconds. Ring's close.
12GB version, and I don't love they're both.
Hands on if you need it. Just giving my
And when
shields
I
a
put
reach
it on
out.
their specs, these are basically the same thing. The 12GB version, specs-wise, looks
I'm getting hit over here.
6700 XT.
We're close to the ring. 30
3700
seconds left.
XT. And the 10GB version looks basically the same thing as the 6700 non-XT 10GB card that we already had. The main
You're in view of the enemy.
taking shots. China exclusive card, at least in the DIY market, and maybe coming into pre-built systems more globally. However, and I will show you the card. Nice. Now, what's more interesting though, is we're starting to see reports
Heads up.
of the
Care package coming in.
GRE, the 7900 GRE, starting to see DIY availability in Europe.
So if those start
Recharging my shields. They spotted me. I'm taking shots.
The 6750 GRE models become more available worldwide. And again, if the pricing is right, that's what could be interesting. Because again,
Recharging my shields.
Basically, 6700 XT 12GB card, but at $289.
Care package over there.
Interesting considering the 6700 XT is usually available closer to
Going to fade.
with occasional sales that I've seen. So it would, you know, it can be a little price now for its competitor there, and gigabytes versus the price, relative price now for 60, which a lot of price
They're aiming right at you. Getting shot at.
Don't
worry. I'm not into taxidermy.
Early pictures of it, all of that for a long time now.
Go that way.
Spotted a cloud over there.
Now,
Not happy with that.
This SSD is not it's not acting as like a part of the card really. It's not adding in you know, more memory to the GPU or anything like that. It's just an interesting design in the sense that it gives you an additional M.2 slot for your PC to use, but it comes in through the GPU. I think this is interesting use of the whoa, I just like completely left the screen there. Oh, hi guys, I'm back. Anyway, the 4060 Ti models have been notable in the fact that they only actually use 8 of the 16 PCIe lanes that would be available on the full slot. So this M.2 NVMe SSD drive is going to be using the wasted potential on those lanes. So if you had a motherboard where all your M.2 slots are full, and you bought this GPU, you would then get access to another M.2 slot. With SSD prices as low as they are now, this is a great time to add in more storage, and this gives you another slot to do that. The main thing that you'd want to check for value-wise is what is the price of this card versus a normal 4060 Ti that didn't have this feature versus other ways of expanding your M.2 slot availability, if there's you know, other ways to add that into your motherboard, that kind of thing. But I certainly like seeing innovation on GPUs, giving us something else to take a look at this month.
Mr. Owen Daniel, I've heard enough of you.
Dr. Disrespect called out social media saying that he hates what it's turned into. Because there's the real world, and then there's the exaggerated fake world of social media. It's like their entire life. Do people really have zero lives? It goes back to my original point of why do people be so concerned with others? Is it because they've got nothing going on with themselves? I can give a fuck what little Tony, little 5'3", 19-year-old Tony thinks of the 2-time. Could care less. But it's just crazy. I look at my timeline and it's just like, there's just so much negative energy. I hate what this industry's turned into. Especially from like a social standpoint. Feels like nothing's about gaming content anymore. Like actual gaming content. I miss seeing clips. Sick ass clips. A 5-piece. A collateral. Crash talk. Montage. Funniest moment. Interactions. I mean, there's nothing.
Today we're bringing back a written article. To me, some of the most hilarious... It's mystery. In recent years, Bluey has established itself as the top dog when it comes to children's entertainment programming. This widely beloved kids show has won numerous awards since first airing in 2018, and is consumed by families around the world, with parents praising Bluey for the show teaching children important life lessons. Any of you guys out there with kids know just how popular Bluey is, and I know there are some adults out there that watch the show as well. Hopefully that doesn't turn into another brony situation. Unfortunately, though, with any children's IP that becomes popular, there are going to be some bad actors out there that try to profit off of children. And sometimes this leads to kids getting traumatized. Those of you who have been on YouTube for some time are most likely familiar with ElsaGate. ElsaGate was, and to some extent still is, an ongoing YouTube crisis involving dubious content creators stealing popular children's IP and using it to create explicit cartoons and bootleg animations featuring these characters for financial gain. This disturbing content insidiously finds its way into the YouTube algorithm of children, and kids have been inadvertently traumatized by this deceptive content on many occasions. Sadly, because of Bluey's popularity in recent years, it has become the target of these bootleggers. Bluey is now commonly used to make ElsaGate-style animations, with thousands of these videos bubbling up on YouTube in the past couple of years. Some of these Bluey ElsaGate videos feature outright violence, while others include scat fetishes or simply encourage children to misbehave. Many parents have caught their children watching these videos and have gone public on social media to express their concerns. Quote, "Has anyone seen this? My husband put it on for our daughter, and it's not Bluey. Honestly, I just turned it off ASAP, so I don't know what happens, but Bluey and Bingo were crying in the first scene. It's ridiculous what they do to kids shows. All of these shows are turned into inappropriate, poorly animated videos. It's disgusting. I won't let my kids watch this version. It's odd and weird things happen. My 3-year-old screamed and shut it off one day because the parents were hitting Bluey and Bingo, and it freaked them out. That was the day YouTube got removed from the TV. With outcry from parents and the media, this Bluey bootlegging has been quelled to some extent by YouTube, with Bluey bootlegs regularly being taken down after reports. But as we saw with the original ElsaGate trend in 2018, it seems impossible to fully stop the producers of this content, though I'd imagine it's only a matter of time before the show's producer, the BBC, steps in and protects its IP legally. That being said, though, there is one front of the Bluey IP battle that BBC has already launched an attack on, that being the rampant production of bootleg Bluey merchandise. Around the time of the COVID-19 pandemic, online retailers like Amazon, Wish, Alibaba, and eBay became flooded with bootleg Bluey merchandise. This illegal merchandise was becoming so popular that it started cutting into the profits of the official BBC stuff. And as a result of this, in March of 2023, the BBC initiated a blanket lawsuit targeting a number of online sellers. The case was filed on June 20th of 2023 in Chicago, Illinois. BBC Studios Distribution has demanded that the courts prevent the defendants from using Bluey trademarks, which has been used on everything from t-shirts to The company has also asked Amazon, Walmart, Alibaba, eBay, AliExpress, Wish, Etsy, and DHgate to halt selling any imitation Bluey products. The lawsuit is still ongoing, but I'd imagine there'll probably be more to come, as Bluey remains the top dog and the bootleggers are still going forward on all cylinders. When you think of bootlegs, one of the first things that comes to mind is probably Michael Jordan's shoes, or Jordans. I would be remiss if I didn't discuss Jordan in a video about bootlegs. Initially launched in collaboration with Michael Jordan and Nike in April of 1985, Air Jordan shoes would go on to become a worldwide phenomenon and have evolved over the years to become one of the world's most iconic and lucrative brands. Even more iconic than the name Air Jordan is the upholstered logo found on almost every pair of Jordans, the Jumpman. The logo, which was inspired by a real-life photo taken of Michael Jordan, has accrued legendary status in terms of brand identity. You could even say that it metaphorically occupies a throne at the pantheon of god-tier American brands, with shit like McDonald's and Coca-Cola at its flanks. It goes without saying Air Jordans are highly coveted by consumers, and they aren't cheap to buy, often listed at MSRP prices in the hundreds of dollars. And due to their high price and coveted nature, no surprise that bootlegs have played the brand support since the days Bootleg Jordans can be rather convincing at times, and sometimes not so much. Convincing ones certainly do undermine the brand. Even wealthy celebrities get tricked into purchasing bogus Jordans. In fact, rapper Kendrick Lamar went viral somewhat recently after he was shown wearing fake Jordans in a photo posted to his private Instagram account. Other famous viral bootlegging incidents have been far less convincing, such as this notorious pair of bootleg Jordans that appeared on Reddit. The shoes featuring a Jumpman logo, albeit with a curious additional appendage. And there are a litany of other examples of terribly executed fake Jordans. With fake Jordans being an almost perpetual plague on the company, it's no surprise that there have been some pretty hefty lawsuits filed, particularly ones involving China. In August of 2007, Nike won 2 lawsuits against 2 Chinese shoemakers as well as a French supermarket chain that had been allegedly copying the prized Air Jordan logo and selling it on shoes. Nike employees had found shoes being sold for $13 a pair in outlets operated at these facilities. Nike was seeking $131,000 in damages as a result of this incident. While this lawsuit against Chinese bootleggers was an easy win, subsequent ones would prove quite difficult. Several years later, Michael Jordan himself would issue a lawsuit against a Chinese footwear company that he was accusing of stealing the Air Jordan's intellectual property. The company was called Chiaodin Sports. Chiaodin is literally a Chinese pronunciation of the name Jordan, and the company also had their own variation of the Jordan Jumpman logo. Michael Jordan saw this as them misappropriating his name for a quick buck. In comments regarding the case, Michael would comment that it was not about the money, but the principle in protecting his identity.
It's not about the money. It's about the principle. Protecting my identity. I have no other choice but to protect it. I feel the need to protect my name, my identity, and the Chinese consumer.
Unfortunately for him, though, the case was rejected in the lower courts in Beijing in 2012. Undeterred by this initial ruling, Michael Jordan brought the case to the Beijing Higher People's Court, but again, the courts ruled against the basketball star in 2015. Their reasoning being, yes, Chiaodin is definitely named Jordan and selling shoes with logos similar to yours, but they could just be referring to any guy in the world named Jordan. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're referring or copying you, Mr. Michael. The court also commented that the logo Chiaodin used lacked any facial features, so there would be no way that any consumers would identify this product with Michael Jordan, I guess. The Chinese courts boiled the issue down to a simple case of transliteration. Transliteration means using letters of another language to closely approximate the sound and pronunciation of a word. Chiaodin, Jordan, get it? Losing in the courts was a big setback for Michael Jordan, but it wasn't the end of the matter for him. Jordan has always been described as a ceaseless competitor, and in litigation, the character attribute remained true. He would continue pursuing legal action and appealing with his lawyers for another 8 years. This involved more than 80 lawsuits and countersuits. And finally, in January of 2020, Michael Jordan received favorable news by the Supreme People's Court. The news being that the court had reassessed their prior decision and determined that Chiaodin had likely infringed on Michael Jordan's personality. But what we find is that this really definitely wrong legal process really wasn't even worth it. As in the end, despite the court's ruling with Michael Jordan, he was only granted $54,000 in emotional damages and legal expenses. He was never given any compensation in terms of the sales that the company made. And I think this is a great point to sort of highlight that there's no way to really stop this doing that. Year after year, these bootleg shoes continue to be manufactured on Walmart.
Where are we going, man? We should get out of there just a little bit. Alright, let's go over to where the wasp could be.
Well, John, he's not fat. He has fat. After all, he has fingernails. That doesn't mean he eats fingernails.
A little bit late. Cannot believe you still didn't kill anyone.
Fucking crazy, man.
I do chew them a little bit when I get nervous, you know me.
Got him. Let's get up to that 30, guys. Come on.
I don't know, probably about 2,000, 10,500. Ground vehicle requisition. Anyway, I'm just going to continue doing some work for the good of all of us.
And on the inside, it's that.
Launching myself off the pad.
Thanks for watching and sharing this video. And thank you for following me on YouTube and Facebook. If you want to watch videos like this or anything, check out patreon.com/video and come to a live show. I am Florian just about everything. You can get tickets and see where all my shows are. SteveHofstetter.com. Thanks for watching.
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and today we're going to be looking at Temu again. You might remember a couple months ago I made a video in regards to Temu where I said I don't trust them. And let's just say today I trust them even less than that, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, Temu is probably one of YouTube's largest sponsors at this moment in time. And it's basically run by everybody. You know, you'll find it from channels as large as Linus Tech Tips with you want a Temu gaming setup, all the way down to things like, you know, I guess, testing the most viral items on Temu, or I bought an entire gaming setup off Temu. People will do these haul videos, kind of like Wish.com, Amazon hauls, so on and so forth. They'll buy a bunch of cheap crap for $100, and then make like a couple thousands off of the videos that they make. Now, I'm not dogging on the creators for taking sponsorships from Temu. I get it. Inflation sucks. You gotta get a bag somehow. But for me, we've had offers come out from third-party agencies telling us, hey, we've got TV sponsorships. And I don't know if these guys watch my channel, but if you just give one check, you have to understand I don't like TV. Much like I don't like predatory video games in the mobile marketplace. There are literally sponsorships that we will not take on this channel because it can get into some pretty ethically damning territory. So I'm going to say it for the record, I'm going to say it for the millionth time. Temu, Shein, any other dog shit e-commerce website, you can offer us $100,000. Hell, you can offer us $1 million, okay? We will not do a sponsorship because my channel has a pretty strong emphasis on keeping your privacy, cybersecurity, and keeping yourself safe on the internet. I don't trust Temu whatsoever. I don't trust that they will keep you safe, and I actually personally believe that they are involved in some shady stuff. Okay, that's just my personal belief, alright? I'm not making these claims. Obviously, that's for the courts to decide, and we'll just leave it at that. Now, for the Temu's website, you'll find out, oh, yeah, Black Friday free sale. It's starting from 79 cents to 8, okay? To give you an idea, they literally just send crap, plastic dog shit, fake products all the time, okay? Literally some of the lowest quality slop is being sold right now. You want to buy Christmas slop for $1.49 starting? There you go. You want to buy some electronics? You want to buy that projector for 79 cents? No, you're not. If you go to the gaming section, you'll find out they'll say like chess sets. If you get lucky, you'll find a $17 4-inch retro video game console. What? If you go to this entire console, you'll see like people are playing like pirated ROMs of Super Mario Brothers. You might be like, but Muda, why is the Nintendo stopping them? Dog, they're not even stopping the fake ROMs being sold on the Amazon storefront. You think they give a shit about Temu? You think they have any right there? Hell no. This is a battle for Nintendo legal to fight, and I don't think they're gonna do it. I love how they straight up say sustainability at Temu. I want to read this document. Temu's free planning commitment. And also ongoing commitment to environmental sustainability. That's so cute, by the way. Because Temu, while they care about environmental sustainability, currently Temu is actually being investigated by the U.S. government for basically involving themselves in slave labor. Who would they be involving themselves with slave labor? Well, the ongoing Uyghur situation in China. For those of you who don't know, there is a situation involving concentration camps and, in a way, systemic genocide against an entire group of people within the residents of China happening right before our eyes. I'm not going to get too far into it, but to give you an idea, the government of the United States is investigating that Temu is responsible for millions of shipments that are sent to the U.S. each year through a network of tens of thousands of sellers on its online marketplace. For both Temu and, of course, Shein, who are their competitors in this fast fashion e-commerce space, rely heavily on de minimis exception to ship packages directly to U.S. consumers. So again, they are likely responsible for more than 30% of all packages shipped to the United States daily, and likely nearly half of all shipments to the U.S. originate from China. Temu's business model is to avoid bearing responsibility for compliance with the UFLPA and other prohibitions on forced labor while relying on tens of thousands of Chinese suppliers to ship goods directly to U.S. consumers. So in one of their key findings from the report, it actually says that Temu admits that it does not expressly prohibit third-party sellers from selling products based on their origin in the Xinjiang Autonomous Region where the Uyghur genocide is happening. So in response to our inquiry, Temu acknowledged that it does not have a policy in place to prohibit the sales of goods from Xinjiang, the location of the CCP's ongoing genocide. This is particularly concerning in light of Temu's lack of their UFLPA compliance mechanism. In fact, after we launched our investigation, we found that Temu's marketplace features a product in the below screenshot, obtained on May 31st, 2023. So this is a product right over here, which is apparently new handmade knitted cotton pendant with Xinjiang cotton, okay? So they straight up mentioned it by name here. So again, that cotton in specific, the U.S. is claiming is intrinsically linked to forced labor, and import of such cotton into the U.S. is functionally prohibited under U.S. law. So right now, the United States government is really cracking down on a company that is so willing to use such blatant slave labor, allegedly. So now, going back to their sustainability crap, I really don't care if they're planting some trees. If it turns out they're using forced human labor, then, yeah, I don't really care if you plant an entire goddamn Amazonian rainforest. This is still goddamn unethical. And I know there's people who are going to say, isn't a ton of products made with forced labor anyways? Yes, it's true. Ethical consumption can be a problem, but when it's this blatantly disregarded, then is it really worth buying some crappy plastic knickknack over on TV, or really any service like this, that has such a... I mean, if you don't need to buy it, then you don't need to support it. But honestly, your money, you spend it. I'm not going to put my beliefs on you. But again, you know, to be honest with you, these companies are so big at this point. If you actually look into the parent company of PDD Holding, which is the actual company that owns Temu at this moment in time, they are growing so rapidly that even their founder has went from like $14 billion, like Colin Huang, to like $37 billion pretty much over the course of Temu's rise. Like, this is one of the richest dudes in China. Actually, from what I understand, he's beaten out like Jackie Ma, who's like probably one of the most iconic rich guys, almost known as the Jeff Bezos from China. This e-commerce platform that they have, Temu, is so wildly successful, despite being such a lost leader, that the people who are in this situation that are
They're
running
camping
it
in the middle.
have just blown up their fortunes to no end. And obviously, where I'm getting at is these fortunes are so high that I think no matter what, at some point, despite as morally corrupt the company is, they're just going to get away with it because they can obviously hand whatever donations they have. They can pretty much bribe whoever they want. When you're this rich, you can effectively get away with straight up murder, as sad as it sounds. To give you an idea of some of the wildest ads that I've ever seen in Temu, because one of these ones very, like, recently that showed up was when they started selling a Nintendo Switch, I shit you not, for $7. Now, could you technically buy a Nintendo Switch off Temu for $7? Maybe at one point, very, very briefly. But obviously you can see that they're charging $170. Just to attract people to go to their store in the first place, they price these things down to like $7. Now, throughout every sponsorship for Temu, one of the things that you'll find out is obviously they want you to go to their website or they want you to download their iOS or Android app. And this is where things get really, 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 really shady. So very recently, Temu just had a lawsuit that kicked in very recently where they have been alleged to actually be spying on you through their website www.temu.com. So right here you can see that one of the plaintiffs, Eric, has filed a class action complaint against defendant Whaleco Incorporated, which is doing business as Temu. And basically they said that Temu, in their in-app website browser, so Temu.com, they have said that it fails to secure consumers' personal data, their name, address, email address, phone number, financial information,
get rid of the hammer
data like your fingerprints or Face ID, and enabling hackers to steal personal and financial data from defendants. And the breaches were caused and enabled by defendants' knowing violation of its obligation to abide by best practices and industry standards. So how did they actually get into it? So of course, this class action actually goes after them for apparently wiretapping their website www.temu.com. So if you actually look into how they claim it's been hacked, it gets pretty wild. So in here, they say Temu contains spyware and actively collects user information. Through its marketing and advertising, the defendant does not disclose or actively hide the existence of spyware on Temu users on its browsers and cell phones. So here they've actually said that Temu uses dynamic compilation using runtime.exe, which calls for package compiler. This built-in allows for unbounded of exploitative methods. And they also reference a company known as Grizzly Research, which is a market research company, or so as well, that actually looked into it with their own analysis and saw that outside device data and functions that are inappropriate or dangerous. Now, I could sit here and crap on Temu for easy views, but at the end of the day, trying to be as objective and fair and balanced as I can is important to me. And this is where this is a red flag in the analysis, and actually this lawsuit as well. Look, Temu is bad, and we'll get into it towards the later half, but to look at this analysis, this dynamic compilation using runtime exec isn't necessarily the red flag or the latest. The new idea is runtime exec.
3 over there on my body, 3 over there.
Of that application, Temu in this case. And from what I understand, like, Android will do this. Again, this is an Android thing. It'll be done on an as-needed basis. Now again, it could be questionable why Temu, this global e-commerce shopping app, is using this command anyway. Maybe it's something to do with performance or something. But Temu is a regular compile.
One more back there. Good work.
Yes, the definition of compiler is true, but that function that they're calling isn't necessarily something that's going to compile a brand new, I guess you could say, spyware version of the app as you launch the Google Play version of the app that you downloaded from the digital store. The iOS. And again, a further disclaimer, I am not an Android developer, but again, looking further into this runtime executable right here, this command, one of the closest things that I personally found was the discussion of utilizing this for potential code injection, right? So, for instance, you may also be able to invoke runtime, get runtime exec to execute native code, disable the Java Security Manager, call set accessible true, and then take over
They're
the
camping
process,
together.
exploit vulnerabilities, or use any of the other methods. Again, can I confirm necessarily if this is being used in a very, dirty manner? No. I think Google may have picked up on this, or maybe iOS, depending on which platform this is on, because this really does seem like a very, very bad Pandora's box for almost any application out there. So again, I think further analysis should be needed. I think this is the way that it's being
camping
painted,
together.
at least to me, seems a lot more suspicious than it's being let on. Okay? One of the allegations here is TeamU uses get window, get vCore view, and get root view, which makes screenshots and stores screenshots as the user uses their smartphone, including the activities of the users on other programs that are not even TeamU, which is actually the definition of fucking spying. And that's if it was true, because the more and more I look into it, the sadder it ends up becoming. TeamU uses that specific command, and it can only, from what I understand, capture its own window. How is it supposed to capture other windows on your smartphone? If it's spying on itself, that's still weird. But again, why are they painting it that you can spy on other applications too? It's just weirdly done. And then, of course, when it records your MAC address, MAC addresses, from what I understand, are also completely randomized underneath Android. In fact, from what I even know, Apple doesn't even have an API to capture a MAC address either. TeamU will seek for root access of a cell phone, which includes not only the files on the application, but obviously root access means all the access throughout every single directory on your device. So again, total access to your system. And according to this Grizzly Report research, which is where this information is grabbed from, TeamU just checks for root access. And then they say with root access, the app and the user are able to read, modify, and write not only user files, but everything on the device. Which is true if TeamU was using that root access. A lot of applications will check for root access, especially things like gacha games even, because they don't want somebody to be running, cheat engines or, cheat software that has elevated privileges on a device. There's even like iPhone games that check for jailbreaks just to make sure that they're trying to stamp out any cheater whatsoever. Again, checking for root access is something a lot of devices or a lot of programs will do. That doesn't make it inherently bad. A lot of programs will do that too. Other shopping applications that this group also looked at, and here's the thing, requesting if anything has root access is something that Amazon, eBay, a lot of these groups will do. The only one that doesn't is TikTok, but all the other e-commerce sites do it. And of course that get root view, that screenshot making ability is something that every app does. Because guess what? When the application needs a screenshot or something to send to customer service, or just when you're making a screenshot to save to your device, from my understanding, you need these accesses. So they're painting some of these like security issues as security issues, when in reality, this is just how everything, it's not necessarily inherently evil. These aren't really issues, provided that your next analysis isn't showing that they're abusing these root privileges to download or delete or modify data on your device. If it's just checking, that's not the end of the world. And these are some really heavy claims to be happening, okay? For instance, if you apparently use the TeamU website, you may unironically be opening yourself up to being scraped for data that you don't want to give up. And you might be like, Muda, I've got nothing to hide. Again, this is a shopping website. It's fucking creepy if it's actually doing this kind of behavior on your device. Then I decided to PDD Holdings like investigations from this group, Grizzly Reports. Now, to understand, Grizzly Reports has actually been sued in the past for libel as well too. I don't know how that's been going for them, but obviously this actual research that they did, which was posted on the 6th of September, is very, very scathing. I just want to make that right here. They said that Grizzly Research presents smoking gun evidence that PDD Holdings TeamU is the most dangerous spyware package currently in widespread circulation. So again, one of the actual points that they brought up over here was they showed the characteristics of the application and how TeamU apparently has nearly every single dangerous characteristic present in its device. So they made this matrix between like 6 different applications. Not all of these are Chinese, so TeamU being a Chinese application, Amazon being American, you can see that Amazon's also pretty nasty, allegedly, when it comes to spying on you or looking through your information. But TeamU does that runtime exec that we were talking about earlier. TeamU also looks into recording your audio, it looks into installing packages, it looks into your internet, it looks into wake lock. Now, recording audio is something that even Amazon will do, and obviously they'll check for camera permission. So a quick idea is if you need to take a photo to make a refund, or like a photo that you need to send to like a support message on the Amazon app or even the TeamU app, obviously it's going to need the camera permissions. But again, I always have to question when these applications need to check for audio. That's super weird to me. Why does a e-commerce application need my microphone access? And that's where I'm going to leave it at. Based on the analysis that I read from them, I don't know if Grizzly Research has a financial incentive into this because they're listed as like a short seller or something. Again, I know that anytime money is on the line, truth is often the first victim. Based on some of their analysis and reading it, I have to question their experts and I have to question their motives as well too. Look, I'm not doubting that TeamU is not shady. In my opinion, it is a shady company based on who they are literally owned by, okay? PDD Holdings, and we'll get to that in a little bit too. But this analysis I saw making the news rounds and it was shared around like it was some scathing proof, when in reality, I don't think it really proves anything. In fact, it actually muddies the water, okay? If TeamU is shady, this gives TeamU ammunition to say, wow, look at this analysis that happened towards us. It's got a bunch of holes in it too. So again, when analyzing these things, you pretty much have to be on the money, and you can't make smoking gun claims if you don't actually have the smoking gun. But their actual analysis here is so bad that I don't even know how to begin explaining how just wrong it feels, okay? How wrong it is. So they said that one of the big no-nos in security is reading and storing the MAC address, which, as I just showed you a couple minutes ago, Android, and even when it comes to Apple, these things are usually randomized, and they're actually inaccessible to most of these applications, if anything, to grab a hold of. Now, when they say a DDoS attack and other unwanted security probes could conceivably be launched against a disclosed MAC address, I mean, you cannot DDoS a MAC address. A MAC address is literally just an identifier to a network interface control. And to say that you can DDoS attack any of these things is just blatant misinformation. I really don't even know how to describe how wrong this is. And the fact that they claim to have a security researcher writing this makes me question the entire goddamn report. So one of the things that they mention, obviously, is their Pinduoduo app, which again, Pinduoduo is like the leader, like the head application. It's like the parent company of TeamU. And they were actually removed briefly from the actual Google Play Store. I think they may still be removed because their application was absolutely exploiting some serious Android vulnerabilities to spy on users. So according to the US Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, they warned that a high-severity Android vulnerability was exploited by the Chinese e-commerce app Pinduoduo as a zero-day to spy on its users, okay? So again, that is probably the bigger red flag too. I know, I keep saying the biggest red flag, but it never stops with this company. If any other group got caught doing this, there would never be a reason for you to use their application. And this is one of the reasons why we never take a TeamU sponsorship. because this is the kind of shit that immediately shows up in the first Google results, okay? And again, it's just the kind of ick you don't want to get involved with, okay? Because who knows how bad things can get when an exploited app runs around. If this is a giant loss-leading application that's designed to harvest your information and send it to a foreign country, that's not something that should be promoted by anybody. And in my opinion, it should be shut down by governments, okay? I'm not even kidding. This is legitimate espionage that we are witnessing if this is all true. Without Google knowing, the actual vulnerability, which was CVE 2023-20963, exploited, allowing the app to perform operations with elevated privileges. The app used these privileges to download code from the developer's designated site and run it within a privileged environment. So again, they were literally using this as a command and control system. And it's not just like one cybersecurity agency saying this, it's multiple. Here's Dark Navy, another research group, and this is from Shanghai, China, who's actually looking into these vulnerabilities as well. So again, it's not just one agency, it's not just two, it's like 5 or 6 that are looking into each of these things. There are entire Git repositories and Git investigations of all of this. The Pinduoduo backdoor, also leaked from DaVinci 1012. Okay, so this is, again, not a joke. Pinduoduo has shown that it is probably one of the most riskiest apps to be using. And even to this day, when I look into like Pinduoduo, I'm not actually seeing their application at all on the Google Play Store. I am, however, seeing Teams. And that's about the only thing, alright? Maybe this application has solved its own issues. Maybe it's not as spy-heavy, or maybe it doesn't have any of that code from the Pinduoduo application. But again, going back to TDD Grizzly, we're going to look at what they're saying about this application, even after it's been linked to Pinduoduo in the worst way possible. And you know what? Temu, for all of its worth is they've gotten some of the worst reviews imaginable on the Better Business Bureau. Okay, they're sitting at a rating of 2.56 out of 5. They've got about 1,100 complaints in literally just the last 3 years. 1,160 of them just in the last 12 months alone, okay? And if you read those complaints, you know, it's not pretty. It's just people complaining about delivery issues, the problems with the products and the services, and of course, the quality of those services too. Of course, their Trustpilot is super duper odd as well. They're sitting at a 3.3 out of 5 stars. But of course,
it's very much a temple of football, the Santiago Bernabeu, right here in the Spanish capital, Madrid. My name is Derek Ray, and sitting next to me here on the commentary gantry is the former Arsenal and West Ham United midfield man, Stuart Robson. And without doubt, a match with the potential to bring genuine excitement. It's Real Madrid versus France.
Thanks, Derek. Well, it was far from the ideal start on match day 1, but a chance at redemption now. Don't get me wrong, it's still early days. But if they want to make an impression on this league, we're going to have to see a vast improvement today.
Who can he pick out?
So very disappointed. Worst shopping experience ever.
And here's the starting 11 for Real Madrid. Thibaut Courtois begins in goal. Ferland Mendy plays with Carvajal in the fullback positions. Toni Kroos plays with Luka Modric in central midfield. And as for the attack, well, it has a bold look about it with 3 forwards listed from the beginning. And a goal kick is the outcome.
And by extension, Sheen as well.
Here's the side France will go with. Mike Maignan begins in goal. Benjamin Pavard plays with Dayo Upamecano in central defence. And up front, Antoine Griezmann starts alongside Kylian Mbappe.
The team was losing somewhere around an average of $30.
And support available.
Just trying to break into the market that is.
Oh, it comes to nothing in the end. Really should have made more of that.
How big they are, how big they're getting. They're obviously operating on a loss. You think those cheap-ass prices, that $7 Nintendo Switch exists for no reason?
Karim Benzema, who's played at such a high level in an attacking sense for so long. Stuart, what do you anticipate seeing from him here?
Well, Derek, when he's on form, when he's focused...
Oh, it's developing nicely for them here. There it goes! An early opening statement in this match. And look at the celebrations. So France get the ball rolling once more. We'll have to find out how they're going to react to the setback. Players waiting in the centre. The body in the way. continues his run. Keeping the opposition at bay with that splendid challenge. And it will be a free kick to Real Madrid.
Is a little bit questionable too. And of course, the amount of data that's being taken
The right
off
place to cut out the pass.
Because this is a Chinese company, the Chinese government always
And the ball is loose.
any data they want from these companies.
And problem solved for now.
For whatever reason.
Well, the keeper deserves a lot of credit. That was a fine save, wasn't it?
Well, who knows? He might be called upon again. Still some defending to do. Can he finish this? He's foiled them on his own. This might be the perfect counter-attacking opportunity. Will it be sufficiently imaginative? Cuts in from the flank.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is basically all I really have to say.
He'll be delighted to have won the ball, having made that difficult challenge.
But the more I look into it and the more I go down this dark rabbit hole,
plenty of support here.
That, of course, this is one of the darkest sponsors on
Giroud, Griezmann. Well, he had clearly drifted into an offside position.
Well, you can see from his reaction, he knew that wouldn't count.
Spending millions of dollars breaking into this market, but of course, what are they really after? Who knows? But
and he's through here. And he finds the net. He could hardly miss.
Well, here's the replay, and it's a simple finish in the end. But where was the defending? That's just not good enough.
2-0 here, and the ball is moving again. Well, that's how to beat your opponent. Options in the centre. Can he get one back? That's a great stop.
Well, his reflexes are so good there. That's a fantastic stop.
We use this cutting-edge transistors to advance every component of these new chips to deliver great performance to pioneer feature with every chip in the family.
And over it comes.
The GPU. The M3
Diaby. This is Coman. And with that, the attack fizzles out. Racing forward, trying to catch them out. There's a slide rule pass. A goal! That's exactly what they needed. That should get them believing again.
Only the exact amount of memory that is needed is used for this task.
So the ball is rolling again. 2-1 the score. What's going to happen next? Aurélien Tchouameni. He has teammates around him, and a timely intervention. But on the cusp of the half-time interval, and it would be wrong to say that they're really enjoying this away day, up to this point anyway, Stuart.
Well, it's been a good game so far, and they've played a big part in that. But if they are to get back into this, they need to be more disciplined defensively. They've just been too open at times.
Coman. Can he put it in? And searching for his second, but the keeper equal to the task.
Well, he's looking really lively, isn't he? Every time he gets the ball, he looks a threat.
Was on the touchline, now cuts in. It has to be! And the keeper did more than enough. Now sliding in field. Superb block. Giroud.
Well, France have controlled possession, as you can see, but their attacking players been too slow, mainly due to...
Oh, wait, Stuart, they might score! Oh, right in the nick of time. And a close offside decision as they were threatening. And offside it had to be, crystal clear. Wonderful challenge, and a throw-in coming up. Coman. It needs an accurate cross. The inside route looking promising. Oh, it's an unbelievable save by Courtois. Delivering it. Able to get a body in the way. Could be a chance to break here. And the referee has added on 2 minutes of stoppage time. Giroud. Now with Coman. Griezmann. And a fine stop. And that is that. Half-time here in the Spanish capital. Well, Antoine Griezmann, so far you've got...
Empty max is up to 80% faster than me. So that's the groundbreaking M3, M3 and MP Max. With 3nm technology, a next-generation GPU architecture, a higher performance CPU, faster neural engine, and support for even more unified memory, they're the most advanced chips ever built for a personal computer.
Introducing the new MacBook Pro.
Let's begin with the 14-inch MacBook Pro. When you're using pro apps or playing games, the advanced thermal system allows you to sustain the phenomenal performance of M3.
Second half underway, with Real looking to build upon a positive first half showing.
13-inch MacBook Pro with M1. Next, let's talk about the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro with M3 Pro. MacBook Pro is up to 40% faster.
Really getting stuck in.
With M1 Pro. Let's turn to MacBook Pro with M3 Max. With M3
Diaby.
Max, up to 2.5 times faster.
Must be. Oh, and the referee doesn't hesitate. That is a spot kick. Well, he's avoided a booking, but the complaints continue.
And I can understand why. I think it's a poor foul. It should be a yellow card for me.
And in it goes, as coolly as you like. Never in any doubt from the spot. Not many sides would have the mental strength to bounce back from adversity like this team. And teammates around him. Well, it came to nothing in the end. Really inventive stuff from Real here. Pressing high to win the ball.
Also get the industry-leading Liquid Retina XDR display.
Racing forward, trying to catch them out. Will they profit from this situation? And the counter-attack came to nothing. Griezmann! Oh, it's astonishing! One of the greatest comebacks you're ever likely to see. And now the question is, can they see this out?
Not only that, using a great protein that forms an anodization seal that greatly reduces face blanks with absolutely
and the ball is moving again. 3-2. Federico Valverde. Very alert defending to put a stop to the chance. It is a decent looking attack here. Oh, he's given us away inexplicably. Well, offside here. Such a pity for them. Chance was on.
And the 16-inch MacBook Pro with the monumental performance of M3 Pro and M3 Max still...
Alaba failed to hold it.
You can order the new
Griezmann.
today.
It might be. And still danger here. High degree of difficulty to hit it on the volley like that, and it was close.
Well, his skill level is so high. You're absolutely right. That's a great effort on the volley.
Well, Real Madrid are going to make the change now. And he read it well, intercepting it. Griezmann. Mbappe! And it's gone in. Just what the doctor ordered. Things looking very bright for them now with this buffer.
And you love seeing everything people like from the beautiful, large, and immersive 4.5K Retina display. Which ever mind with everything will appreciate the amazing screen real estate.
Well, 2-on-1, the keeper has no chance here. As you can see, it's a well-taken.
500 nits of brightness and over 1 billion colors. You also get great features like a 1080p FaceTime camera, a 6-speaker sound system with spatial audio, and studio quality mics, which create an unmatched video conferencing experience. In addition, you'll also get advanced technologies from that facility. Like
A very timely interception.
For incredible machine learning and video performance, and the option to choose Magic Keyboard for Touch ID for secure login and payments.
Kylian Mbappe. And the referee allowing advantage to accrue to them. And threaded through by Mbappe. But the flag goes up offside.
Well, he just needs to play that a bit sooner. The pass was definitely on.
Scan a document with your iPhone and watch it instantly appear. So that's
Slipshod passing.
Well, France have controlled possession, as you can see, and that's been because of their ability to win the ball.
Oh, they could be in here, Stuart. And it goes! A 3-goal cushion, and you truly sense it's a matter of how many.
Today, it'll be available next week.
Thank you all for joining us. Have a great night.
Well, it's lovely technique, as you can see. He just wraps his foot around the ball and bends it beyond the keeper. That's a good goal.
And the action underway once more, with France very much on top. Very quick thinking there.
And the reasons are simple. You see, when I saw this information, I said, finally,
Pavard. Mbappe. And he's made headway. Oh, a tremendous block. Federico Valverde. Madrid sloppy in possession. Well, the final whistle approaching, and this has certainly been an away day to remember. Stuart, your assessment?
Well, the result has never really been in doubt, has it? They've created so many chances with some brilliant attacking play. I think they've looked an outstanding team today.
I think you've got to conclude that was good refereeing. A free kick in the end after initially playing advantage, but it just wasn't there. Well, no card, but the referee clearly indicating that he's on his last warning. Coman. And France regaining possession. Well, he has the measure of his opponent. Modric. Aurélien Tchouameni. Making progress. Well, full marks to him for that header, but the goalkeeper did his job. Now they're going to alter things. Here's the substitution. Corner kick delivery from Toni Kroos. Having won the ball back, they might be able to profit. Oh, and he didn't miss by very much.
Yeah, he adjusted his body so well there. It's a great piece of skill, and it probably deserved the goal. Well, these fans are making for the exits now. Their team have been totally outplayed today.
We know it's scarier than being dressed up.
But he knew he had to get to the ball, and he did.
You know, well, that's what you're paying for at top.
Kylian Mbappe.
And that is why you should go to
Giroud. In position. Might still be able to do a bit of damage. Well, he has a flair for the dramatic. Let's give him high marks for that.
Yeah, it's always the risk. You can end up looking a bit silly if it doesn't come off. He's having a quick chuckle to himself. He knows that wasn't a good effort.
Here it is now, a substitution. Marco Asensio. Space for Real out wide. That's not a bad ball. Well, you can't really hit them any better than that. But the goalkeeper was up to the task. Cross with the corner. Well, not the best clearance. And saved by the keeper.
Broken silicon for 25% off.
Given away by Rabiot.
Get 3% off every other piece of software.
There will be 3 minutes added on at the end. Plenty of support here. Can he finish? Keeper getting the touch. It'll be a corner. Whipped in by Griezmann. Not all that convincing defensively. On a time for composure on the ball.
And that I usually require multiple to send you the same slide so that I know
well, there it is, the final whistle, and France have prevailed in this one. Stuart, your thoughts?
Well, Derek, what a good performance that was. They did most things right, and their attacking play was inventive and had a real cutting edge. That was a really dominant display from them today.
Well, we all know how naturally skillful.
Roadmap, but yeah, you'll see some things blacked out that I didn't feel really needed to be showed at all. And you'll also see some waviness and some color stuff, but this comes from a side from within AMD. But I do feel, well, I feel frankly after the past few years of seeing people come up with complete BS, like Zen 3 Plus on desktop and 1000 watt graphics cards, that if I can steer people in the right direction, so they don't get their hopes up about the wrong things, and they can look at this and go, okay, that clearly comes from something legit, then I should do so. And so